So, but two follow-up questions to this. The first follow-up question is about the follow-up. You said the fortunes in the follow-up. So, for one, what recommendations do you have about how to follow up after a networking event or situation? The second question I'll ask is about common mistakes people are making when it comes to networking. But let's hear first about the follow-up.
So you have to think about the context in which you met them and how you would follow up. If they gave you advice, use that advice. So oftentimes, like, I'll recommend books to people. The people who follow up, like, hey, I bought, picture of them with the book. Hey, I bought the book, looking forward to reading it. And then they follow up again saying, like, hey, here's what I learned from the book. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Do you have any other recommendations? People help those who help themselves. The thing about careers is I don't mind helping you up the mountain. I just don't want to have you on my back. And that's what it is, that you have to do your work to do the things. And then follow up, like, think about, how can I help them? How can I make their life easier in some capacity? For me, honestly, I appreciate people who leave out comments. People who show up, like, that means a lot. Like, hey, I helped you out and you're here helping me out. That means a lot. And it's like that reciprocity. So think about how you can make their life easier in any capacity. And that's why you have to have conversations and you have to focus on building relationships.
Yeah, and no AI follow-ups there, not like follow up with this person and just give some generic thing. It's like, what was the connection you had during that conversation? What did he talk about? What was the thing that really resonated? It takes real work to kind of think about what those things are and to reflect. So,
yeah, for example, I had someone reach out to me today. He said, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, look, honestly, it's not easy. Like, it's tough. Like, you have a business and stuff. It's not easy. Like, I'm not out here with 1 million TikTok followers rating in money. Like, I'm working 7 days a week, right? I'm doing everything I can to grow the business. He's like, hey, you know what? You should, work less, focus on your health. And I was like, look, trust me. I want to be at the gym for like 4 or 5 hours every day. That would be the dream. But sometimes it's like, look, we have limited time and resources, and it's like we have to make those sacrifices even though we don't want to, right? Yeah. There's only limited time in a day. And then when I went through his activity, he never engaged with any of my stuff in 6 months. So it's like, I don't really have much interest. I'm not saying you have to engage with my stuff every day, but I'm not going to have much interest in someone who's out here never engaged with my content, just giving me some generic advice that's not helpful. It's like, that's not what I need. Like, I know I need to, I know I need to go work out. I know I need to work less, but it's like, unfortunately, I'm not in the position to do so.
Yeah. So you segued brilliantly. So like, that sounds like a common mistake that people would make when it comes to networking. It's just like, what would that be? Like asking for too much too soon? It's just, let's hear about some of these mistakes.
Here's the thing. If you're giving advice to me, understand the context that you give advice to. Like, that's not bad advice. It's just, that's not advice that I can apply right now, right? And it's also, it's coming from, look, if that person had engaged with me, I'd be like, hey, this person cares. But since I have a decent amount of followers, I get so many who just hit me up every 6 months. It's like, dude, honestly, you just clog up my inbox. Versus the people who engage with my stuff on a regular basis. When they say, hey, if you say, hey, I'm like, yo, what's up, Chris? Let's go, let's talk. It's going to be something cool. It excites me. Where it's like, it's draining when I get someone who's like, ask me how my day is. And it's like, dude, it's like, I'm working all day. Like, what do you want me to say? And it's like, did you expect me to say, hey, this is good? It's like, this, like, it's tough because we as people in career space, like, I've helped a lot of people for free. And, some people are amazing and some people are not, right? And some people just want that advice. So oftentimes, like, most people feel like they're transactions. Like, oh, you saw me, you want your advice out of me, and that's it. And then just realize that you are talking to a person. You are talking to someone that goes through emotions and all that. And if you understand their emotions, they will love you. Like, if someone's like, hey, like, I see that, I appreciate that grind. I appreciate you. Like, one guy, I reached out to him because I was on his podcast years ago. He's liking my stuff. He's not leaving a comment. He's liking my stuff. So I'll be like, hey, what's up? He's like, yo, you're an inspiration and all that. Like, that's inspiring, right? Like, he's out here supporting me. So I find that support the people that you're reaching out to, even in the smallest ways. The other thing that I'll tell a lot of people is that they're not doing enough research. It's such, like, I'll get people who are like, hey, how do I break into, get ask me for advice, and it's like literally in my link in bio, there's a podcast, and it's literally free. Versus someone who's like, hey, I listened to your podcast, I learned XYZ.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes I'll tell people, or they'll be like, hey, do you have a podcast episode covering X?
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, oh, perfect. You know what? I'll send you
It's
the link.
specific, like you said earlier. It's specific too.
And it shows that they did research, right?
Yeah.
And like other things that people will do, if you scroll down, I'm an assistant wrestling coach. I put it on my profile. So people were like, hey, I used to wrestle. I used to do this. Then it's an instant connection. Like, I'm like, because wrestlers have this thing, right? We just get beat up on the mat. It's a tough sport. That's something we can connect on. So I'm part of Toastmasters. So look at their profile. Like, so many people, it's clear they have not read my headline. They're like, what do you do? Oh, where are you from? And it's like, dude, it's in my profile. And I'll be kind of harsh. I'll be like, dude, it's literally in my profile. Like, I'm all about like, hey, I'm being friendly, but if I don't have time for people who just say hi. Because on Twitter, the thing is hi. And it's like every time I've said it back, it's a brain dead conversation by someone who has done absolutely no research. But
True.
Just do that little research. Think of them like a person. Don't ask basic questions, ask specific questions. And if they have any resources, consume them. Because then it just shows that, hey, this person invested time into their resources. They've invested time into themselves. Hey, it won't hurt if I spend some time in them, because here's the reality. I'll give advice to most people. They won't follow it.
There are 30 possible resume mistakes stopping you from landing interviews. And please, whatever you do, don't submit your resume to another bot who won't listen. As a top resume service, we've helped thousands of job seekers. And with our expert eye, Let's Eat Grandma will transform your resume into a job-winning masterpiece. Don't wait. Submit your resume to Let's Eat Grandma now for a free critique.